All right, today we're diving into the story of a real, modern-day Renaissance man. This is someone who takes worlds that seem totally separate and weaves them all together into one single powerful mission.
So let me just start with a question for you. What do jazz, AI, and ancient martial arts all have in common? Really think about it. The soul of jazz, the cold logic of AI, and the deep discipline of martial arts. What could possibly be the link? Well, the answer, and it's pretty incredible, is that they're all central pillars in one man's life mission. It's a journey that takes us from concert halls to dojos and even into the digital frontier. So, to really get how this all connects, we've got to start where he started, with the music. And trust me, this isn't just some backstory. It is the foundation for everything else to come. Okay, what's really striking here is just how fast everything happened in his early career. So Wendell Higgs starts playing trombone at 10 years old, right, in Augusta, Georgia. But by 15, he's not just practicing in his room. He's a professional, out there playing in jazz clubs. Just let that sink in. A few years after that, he's in the 1996 Olympic band. And then by 98, he's named the best college jazz soloist at a huge festival. This wasn't a slow burn, you guys. This was a flat-out explosion of talent. And this just gives you a taste of the level he was at. We're talking first-place finishes everywhere. State, district, county, the whole 9 yards. But the moment that really jumps out, the one that must have been just incredible, was performing for the godfather of soul himself, James Brown, in his own hometown. An experience like that, that's not just a cool story to tell, that shapes your entire path as an artist. Then you throw in a European tour, performing for people like director Robert Townsend. You're seeing a young artist who's already playing in the big leagues. And yeah, that early promise, it absolutely paid off. This number right here, it really says it all. Over 300. That's how many commercially released songs have his fingerprints on them. And not just as a trombonist, but as an audio engineer, a producer, you name it. For more than 20 years, he hasn't just been in the music industry, he's been actively shaping its sound. But his journey wasn't just on the stage or in the studio. He went to Hampton and then Norfolk State University and got a bachelor's in music engineering. And listen, this part is so key. He was deliberately building a bridge between pure art, the nitty-gritty of technology, and the core ideas of education. That single academic choice, it really planted the seed for everything that came next. So from this point on, we get to see how that discipline, that structure he mastered in music, well, it became the blueprint for two new, really powerful identities, the architect and the warrior. So you've got these two paths, right? On one side, you have the architect. That's all about looking outward, building things to empower other people. Then on the other side, you've got the warrior. That's all about looking inward, building and strengthening the self. They might sound like total opposites, but as you're about to see, they're both driven by the exact same philosophy of excellence and service. Okay, so this is the architect's work in action. He founded this thing called the International Talent Consortium, and it's so much more than just a music school. It's a whole platform that gives artists educational tools, production resources. It even uses AI-assisted systems to help them create. The whole point is to help new artists not just survive, but thrive and carry on America's incredible musical heritage. And then you have the path of the warrior. And look, this is not just a weekend hobby. It's a whole discipline he developed himself called Empowered Warriors of the Light. It mixes together physical arts like Tai Chi, but also unorthodox weapons training and practices for internal energy. The end goal isn't just to be a good fighter. It's about finding total mental clarity and spiritual alignment. It's a complete system for mastering yourself. All right, so let's recap. We've got the musician, the tech-savvy producer, the mentor, and the martial artist. So how in the world do all these different pieces fit together? Well, this is where we get to the absolute heart of it all. The one thing that ties it all together is this idea of being a cultural architect. And that's not just a fancy job title, It's a purpose. It's about being someone who intentionally designs and builds systems. Doesn't matter if it's through music or tech or physical discipline, the goal is always the same. Foster excellence, preserve culture, and unlock human potential. And this really brings it all into focus. See, his music isn't separate from his martial arts. His use of AI isn't separate from his faith. It's all connected. It's all part of one single mission. Music is the expression, martial arts is the discipline, AI gives him the tools to innovate, and his faith and his desire to serve, well, that's the why behind it all. And his use of technology is absolutely crucial. We're talking about actively applying AI to how music is composed, to education, even to storytelling. But the key thing to get here is that he's not trying to replace tradition. No way. He's using the most cutting-edge tools he can find to preserve it, to make sure something as timeless and important as jazz stays alive and well in our digital world. And right at the very center of all of this, holding it all together, is this core belief. For him, this isn't just some nice thought tacked on at the end. It's the source code. It's his spiritual foundation. And it's what aligns all his creativity, whether it's music, martial arts, or tech, with a really deep sense of purpose and a mission to serve others. So, let's just tie this all up with the bow. What is the mission of a cultural architect? It's about empowering people, plain and simple, whether they're artists in a studio or warriors in a dojo. It's about preserving jazz, a true national treasure. And ultimately, it's about pushing human potential forward, using every tool in the toolbox: sound, movement, and even light.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. You know, we all have our own different interests, right? Different skills, different passions. The story of Wendell Higgs' screen really challenges us to ask ourselves, what if those things aren't as separate as we think? How can we, in our own lives, act like a cultural architect and build a bridge between all of our different passions to serve one single, meaningful purpose?